So disagreeing about fiction, and um, talking about fiction and my disagreements with other people is kind of one of my favorite things to do because, and by the way, of this particular thing, I wish in a big way so that you can see it. I wish in a big way that I had been able to buy a brand new copy rather than getting a used one. That may be like unopened, but like and everything, but like I very much so wish that I had been able to get a truly brand new copy direct from the people who brought it over to the United States, and Funimation, and literally could buy it directly from Funimation. The reason being with this particular one was just that buying it directly from Funimation would tell Funimation that we want more, you know, of this kind of content. And, it would be a signal that we're willing to pay more for it, to pay for it. But I did. I went out and bought, it. I've wanted it for a long freaking time. I've loved this particular anime despite the fact that it gets hated on to death. It's probably one of my all-time favorites, if not literally my all-time favorite. I like it, and I think that one of the big reasons why I like it so much is that it's such a reversal over like the typical rom com. You know, I I want to make a few confessions about fiction. I'm a little bit different than a lot of people in that I love heavy dramas. Like I don't mind something that's emotionally heavy. This defines, being emotionally heavy. What was so different about Rumbling Hearts versus a lot of other animes that I've had to sit through and romances that I've been interested in. I mean, betrayal is a bitch, as it says, on the back and everything. Like it really went out of its way to be a romantic drama, you know. And it went out of its way to do this in a way that I'd never seen anybody else do. This is, as far as romantic drama, is the only example that I can think of. I I would love it if you told me some others, that were dramatic and part of the drama genre and not comedy genre. I really would love it. Go ahead, send me some stuff and suggestions as far as that's concerned. Just stay away from like Seikano. I've already seen it. I think Seikano was incredibly depressing and droll, and it's very sad. But I didn't mind it either. I can appreciate a good tearjerker and everything. It's just I've already sat through Seikano. Okay, and people are right to call it one of the darkest romances ever. But if you, and I'm not when I say send me like romantic dramas. By the way, when I say that, I'm talking about romantic genres in general. I'm not. Don't exclude your suggestion if it's not anime. Like, go ahead, send me ones that aren't anime too. Okay, I'm not picky. I will watch, American content that isn't animated too. Okay, like it's not a big deal. So if you know something that isn't anime and yet it's a romantic drama, go ahead, send it to me as a suggestion to watch. Like, you know, um, but other than that, like that's why I love Rumbling Hearts. Like it didn't bother to be a lighthearted romance. It went out of its way to be like, we're gonna take love dead seriously, stare at it like we're a bunch of fucking cutthroats, and take it that fucking seriously, like as seriously as you would slitting somebody's throat. Like we 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 wanted it, to take it and to treat it as if it was like deadly serious as far as love is concerned and everything. And for that, I have to give this anime standing ovation and everything because I'm getting sick of it. Okay, like I'm a guy. I was born male. and everything, but I've had to contend with a cultural clash that basically tries to say real men would never fall in love with a woman, basically, and bros before hoes and everything else, and is holding that up as like it's prototypical example. And as I went into, to dialogue about and to writing about like the murder of Sophie Lancaster and everything that transpired, we have created an unspoken rule where men are supposed to want to fuck girls but not actually fall in love with them. Like that's a violation of the typical bro code, and it's very rarely actually spoken out loud, but people will be like, if you fall in love with a girl, you've lost your man card, basically. And I'm sick of it. Of I'm sick of watching love also be shamed and treated as if it's something to be embarrassed by. Like having feelings for somebody is not normal. Like being heterosexual or being homosexual and wanting another person is just, deviant in some way, or like it needs an explanation, or like I need you to justify why you have feelings for me and defend this to me against my interrogation, policing of all of this, and prove to me that you really feel the way that you say that you do. Like all of that is garbage and part of a garbage culture, a trashy one. And so Rumbling Hearts kind of it got my thumb up because the themes that are talked about it are so grown up, so mature, you know. And when people are like, "Do you know what reality is?" in response to it being called hyperreal, yeah. I mean, what I would say about Rumbling Hearts in particular is that it isn't realistic. Like when people call it hyperreal, they're wrong. Like what transpired and what these characters were put through was an extreme set of circumstances that rarely happens to anybody. I mean, with if you don't want me to spoil it, I would, kind of suggest nah, but Haruka getting hit by a car and tuning out, like in literally episode 2 of this particular thing, like this anime like pushed into territory that was so severely serious that like it just I've never seen anybody else do anything that even came close to that, in terms of actually taking love at that kind of level and taking it seriously. And so, I I very much found this one to be refreshing because it was clashing with the culture of being raised on romantic comedies. I mean, why should romance and love be something to laugh about? Why would peace and love and understanding be funny? I just I genuinely don't understand why people think this stuff is embarrassing and laughable. Like it isn't. Like why can we not have a grown up and mature take on love and romance? I just I why can't we be adults about it? I just I don't get it. In a huge way. Like it confuses me to no end why people are like this about it. And so I love this particular one. I found it to be a great escape from, that particular climate of just love is supposed to be lighthearted. Love is supposed to be like careless, carefree. Nothing is ever supposed to be serious or passionate or matter, in any real way. And it's just cringe at all of that shit, all of those concepts. So I love this particular one, but fiction has become like my safe space in a way to critique, and to talk about because I feel so very different about it in that everybody gets that fiction is like so subjective that if you go up there and blast somebody that you disagree with here on YouTube, you're likely gonna get thumbed up. Despite the fact that you're talking trash about somebody else, because people they do appreciate like there being dissent and somebody having a different point of view about a lot of this particular content, and nobody like really cares about it to the extent that they want to firebomb your house over it. Like it's just a I don't share your view on this. I disagree with you, and but it isn't really all that serious in terms of disagreement, and so fiction is so very different than politics because everybody gets that fiction is so subjective that nobody seems to think that anybody's opinion is more valid than anybody else's, and that's what I love about it.